This video covers problems 21 through 30 on the final exam review for the spring in algebra. Problem 21 starts on page 3 of the review, and we are asked to multiply x plus 8 by x minus 3. Remember, anytime you are asked to multiply things using parentheses, a variable and a number, we use the box to keep our work organized and neat. X plus 8 will go on the top, and x minus 3 will go on the bottom. Notice that I am keeping the sign with the number. We fill in the box just like we fill in Punnett squares. Top times side, top times side, top times side, top times side. X times x is x squared. 8 times x is 8x. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. And 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. So from the box we have x squared plus 8x minus 3x minus 24. My last step is to combine like terms, and sometimes you'll remember that they happen on the diagonal, or you can rewrite and then combine. I do not mess with x squared or negative 24 because they do not change. But 8x minus 3x is a positive 5x. So x squared plus 5x minus 24 is my answer. Problem 22, we're asked to factor x squared minus 20x plus 100. Anytime I see the word factor, I need a box. So x squared and 100, my first term and my last term, go into my box in the corners. My product is the first times the last, so 100x squared. My sum is the middle term that was not written in my box. In y equals, I am going to put the product and search for the sum. So I have 100 divided by x, and I click second graph to see the table. I am looking in my table for an x and a y, two numbers that add to a negative 20. So I can see, oh, how about this? Negative 10 and negative 10 would add to negative 20. So I put those into my box and factor out my GCF. X squared and negative 10x share an x. Negative 10x and 100 share a negative 10. X squared and negative 10x share an x. Negative 10x squared and 100 share a negative 10. So my factors are x minus 10, x minus 10, which can also be written as x minus 10 squared. Problem 23, we're going to do the same thing. We're asked to factor, so we fill in the box. My first term is 2x squared. My last term is 15. I multiply them together for my product, which is 30x squared. 2x squared times 15 is 30x squared. My sum is 11x. So in y equals, I put the product number divided by x. You don't have to put the x squared. So I have 30x, 30 divided by x, second graph. I'm looking for two numbers that add to 11. Remember that I do not add, I do not look at decimals. So 1 plus 30 is not 11. 2 plus 15 is not 11. 3 plus 10 is not 11. 5 plus 6 would be 11. And notice I skipped 4 because it had a decimal. So 5x and 6x would give me 11. And those are both positives. I'm going to factor out my GCF. So 2x squared and 5x. 2 and 5 do not share any numbers, but they share x's. 6x and 15 share a 3, but not an x. 2x squared plus 6x shares a 2 as well as an x. 5x and 15 share a 5. I do a quick check. 2x times x is 2x squared. 5 times 3 is 15. So my factors are x plus 3 and 2x plus 5. Problem 24 asks me again to factor. This time I have a special case. If I notice, both of these I only have 2 terms. And this is our difference of squares, where it says a squared minus b squared is a plus b and a minus b. So to figure out what a and b are, I need to take the square roots. So the square root of 81a squared is 9a. The square root of 144b squared is 12b. And then I simply plug these in the same order I saw them and make one positive and one negative. So my a's were first and my b's were second. So again, I see I only have 2 terms. I identified that this was a difference of squares. I looked at my formula chart to get the formula. The formula has a's and b's, not a squareds and b squareds. To get rid of a squared, I take the square root. So I square root both terms and then fill it in accordingly. Problem 25, I have a GCF. These numbers all share a 3. So I divide out the 3 and I get x squared plus 10x plus 25. From here, I use this in my box, x squared and 25. My product, therefore, is 25x squared. My sum is 10x, the number not used in my box, but listed in my parentheses. I go to 25, or I plug in 25 and y equals 25 divided by x. And I click second graph. I'm looking for 2 numbers that add to 10. So that's 26, skip, 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 because they're decimals. 5 plus 5 would give me 10. So 5x and 5x. Take out my GCFs. These share an x, these share a 5, these share an x, these share a 5. So my answer is my GCF, and my factors are squared. So 3 and x plus 5 squared. Problem 26, I'm going to take out a GCF of 5. I divide it out and I'm left with x squared minus 10x plus, I think 24, but let me double check. Yep, 24. I use the parentheses for my box, so x squared and 24. My product is 24x squared. My sum is negative 10x. So I put 24 into y equals, second graph. I'm looking for two numbers that add to a negative 10, so I'm going to look in my negatives. This is negative 25, negative 14, negative 11. Oh, that's negative 10. And then I factor out my GCFs. So my answer is my GCF, my first factor, and my second factor. Problem 27. These do not have a GCF because 6, 11, and 4 do not have anything in common. So I go straight to the box. 6x squared and 4. My product when multiplied is 24x squared. My sum is negative 11x. So I already have 24 in here. I'm looking for two numbers that add to a negative 11. Negative 3 and negative 8 would add to a negative 11. And I take out my GCFs. 6x squared and negative 8x share a 2 and an x. Negative 3x and 4 share a negative 1. And remember, we use 1 as a placeholder because they don't really share anything. 6x squared and negative 3x share a 3 and an x. Negative 8x and 4 share a negative 4. I do a quick check. This times this needs to be 6x squared. This times this needs to be 4. And they are. So 2x minus 1 and 3x minus 4 are my terms. Problem 28 asks which expression is a factor of x squared plus x minus 6. So I need to fill in my box and find my factors and then see which of these A, B, C, D answer choices matches. So my product is negative 6x squared. My sum is a positive 1x. So in y equals, I put negative 6 divided by x. And I'm looking for two numbers that add to 1. 1 minus 6 is negative 5. 2 minus 3 is negative 1, but 3 minus 2 is a positive 1. So 3 and minus 2. I take out my GCFs. So these are my factors. The one that matches is answer choice B, because these are the same. (29) is asking the same question. So 18x squared and positive 2 in my box. That makes my product 36x squared. My sum is negative 15x. So in y equals, I put 36 divided by x. I'm looking for two numbers that add to negative 15. And I think the one I highlighted looks right. Negative 3 plus negative 12. I take out my GCFs, so 18 and negative 12 share a 6 and an x. Negative 3x and 2 don't share anything. 18x and negative 3x share a 3. Negative 12 and 2 share a negative 2. This times this multiplies to that. This times this multiplies to that. So my factors are 6x minus 1, which is answer choice A, and 3x minus 2, which is not listed. The last problem is a perimeter problem. The perimeter of an entire triangle is 8x squared minus 2x plus 6. If two sides of the triangle are x squared minus x and 4x plus 3, what's the length of the missing side? So I know the full perimeter is 8x squared minus 2x plus 6. And 2 of the sides are x squared minus x and 4x, I think, plus 6 or plus 3. So if I add what I already have an x squared, 4x's minus 1x, so 3x's total, and a 3. This is what I already know, or this is the other 2 sides. So to find the missing side, I'm going to take the perimeter, 8x squared minus 2x plus 6, and I'm going to subtract x squared plus 3x plus 3. Now, to make sure I really subtract it correctly, I'm going to go ahead and distribute that negative to all of the pieces. So I'm adding a negative x squared, a negative 3x, and a negative 3. Because now I just have to add what I see. So 8 plus negative 1 is 7 x squareds. Negative 2 plus negative 3 is negative 5 x's. And 6 plus negative 3 is a positive 3 on my numbers. So 7x squared minus 5x plus 3 is my answer for that missing third side.